Hey everyone, welcome to Dappathon session 1. And in today's session, it's very special because our own CEO and founder and my good friend is going to tell us that how you can get started on creating your hackathon project. And we are so glad to have you in this session. So Prashant, I think the Spheron's initial days started from a hackathon itself. And I think it would be we would love to tell them how the whole journey got started and how you have created into such a beautiful protocol and a dev tool so far. So would love to know more about this.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for the great introduction. Yes, to get started, first, let me introduce myself first. Like, apart from being co-founder and CEO of a company, which we are running, I have my life in background as well, where I come from. So I'm not from some very tier 1 colleges or something. I just did my engineering from a normal college in PSIT Kanpur, which is nearby to IIT Kanpur. So it has some feeling of IIT there. So you kind of feel that journey there. So started my journey from there and then ended my journey becoming a solution architect and worked into multiple corporates, companies, startups, and whatever you just name it. I might have even worked in most of the components you might have been building the softwares. So I come from a very dev centric background. I have a very deep solution architecture background. If you ask me anything to design, I can do that for you, the entire system design. So that is where my thing comes into the picture. Apart from that, after becoming a founder, I also learned a lot of different skill set as well. One, to express myself, what I'm doing now. Second is like I started learning the business. The business is basically like there are two kinds of business. The one which makes profit, the other which doesn't make profit, but it makes innovation. So you have to basically understand both the businesses very well. And the business in which we are, it is the second part of the business where we are innovating everything and the profit will come in the later down the stage. I believe you guys must be knowing that, right? So Dappathon has a $50,000 investment pool. And then we are also bringing additional, I can't reveal those numbers, but there are additional dollars which are going to be like topped up on the investment side, which basically means like if you are someone who is pursuing your idea at a very like what I would say is like if you're pursuing it a very passionately, we would love to support your idea by investing. And the reason why we are not giving the grant at this stage, because we don't want to do that. We want to like work with the founders and we want to work with the developers into the space. So investment is the best way to do that, and that is the reason we just want to like go ahead and invest. And then on top of that, we are like having around 10,000 close to around that bounty, which will be like spin up. We have just shown $5,000 at this point of time on dev post if you go and find. So there are a lot of things which as a developer or as someone who is looking to like enter into the Web3, you have a lot to achieve in that Dappathon itself. And feel free to build all of those use cases which are mentioned there. Now let's get started with some of the interesting part of the journey. Is like how I have personally, like, I don't have any presentation or something. I did not want to present anything like before you guys, because I know most of us are here engineers or becoming an engineer or in the process of becoming that. So I just did not want to like make you guys bored with those normal presentations which you see, but rather I just wanted to make sure like you guys hear. And then after hearing, we have a lot of presentation session, which is also coming up. So feel free to go ahead and join those sessions as well. They have a good workshop and presentations and everything. This session is all about to kick your mindset ready to build something amazing into the Dappathon. And how exactly you can do that, that is what I'm going to walk you through with my journey. Coming to ourselves, I don't know like how many of you have still like, have you logged into the Spheron yet or not? Spheron was one of the hackathon projects in reality. So we started literally from the hackathon projects with the idea of into the hackathon. And then from there onward, we have built a massive valuation company in the market now. Okay. In terms of the Indian currency, if I have to speak, in the foreign currency, still it is small. So, but in terms of the company wide, we have really built a very good company into the space, like in Web3 space, and not only company, entire community as well. So just imagine how we would have done it, right? So there was a very simple step which we started following from the day one. The first step which I followed is to understand the entire space deeply wherever you are building. So for example, let's say if I ask you to build something today, how exactly you're going to build is like, hey, you know what? I have got this problem statement. Let me just go ahead with this problem statement and just go and start like solving those problem statement. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Try to get and try to understand the entire space properly, like why you are building this. Why do you need even to go ahead and spend your 1 hour, 2 hour, even 6 hours of time for this particular amount of money? Is it really needed? So all of these questions has to be really cleared in your head before even you get started on building or even like going to submit any kind of hackathon or participating into it. The second thing which you have to go ahead and do is to find a very good team for yourself. If you guys know my co-founder Mitrashis Mukherjee, he was a very good front-end developer and I was a very good back-end developer. So what happened was like I was able to design the back-end solution and he was able to design the front-end within a days. And that is how we were like able to participate in tons of hackathons. Just for your information, we have during my hackathons, we have won around 60, 80 Ethereum, which worth around, I don't know how much money it will be today. But sorry to say, like we have dumped that at $100 worth. So we are not rich in that case. So so we have made a lot of money during those hackathons in those tokens, but again, we dumped them at a very early stage. So that is also a great learning which you can take it from our side. Is like whenever you are getting any tokens, if you see there is a potential in the project, don't dump it. Just keep it at the early stage and then dump it in the later whenever you feel like the value is achieved. That is the second part. Is like you have to find a very right team for yourself to start building. That is in Hindi, like if I have to like tell, it is a rambad for anything. It's like if you don't have a team, a good team which has a good understanding, you will not make it. So it's like NGMI, you are not going to make it. But the moment you have a very good team with you, which has a complementary, which I call it as a complementary mindset people are going to make into this space very easily, right? So even like either building hackathon, participating in hackathon, winning it or not, they can also lead the entire team forward. So you need to find somebody who has a very complementary mindset with you. So that is how you have to just think of. The third and the most important part, which every time whenever, so let's say now you have understood why you want to do it. Now you also have a team who is like everything. So now Prashant, can't we just go and like win the entire hackathon because we have everything? But in reality, that is not it, right? So that is where we start getting confused. It's like having a team member, having a good understanding of the problem statement. Is it really going to make it? No, you will not. There is third part of it also is like the people like us, there are tons of hackers who will be submitting the hackathons. You are not alone, the someone who is thinking about the same idea. Okay, always remember this. You are not alone, or your team is not alone who might be building something cool. Your team is not alone who might have came with this amazing idea, which is more than $1 million worth currently in the market, right? There are hundreds and millions of people who are thinking into your direction. So I always understand there is also one more masala which you have to add into top of it so that it becomes $1 million idea. And the masala of this everything is the well documentation of your product. That basically means is you have to go ahead and like start writing down each and every component of your build process into a proper documentation. Have you ever seen Spheron's documentation? Like whenever we publish any repo, there are a few documentation which we make sure like it goes in README file of GitHub if you are using GitHub. So if you are very good at GitHub, make sure your README file is up to date. That is one thing. Second thing is like there should be a person into your team who have a capability to speak over a mic so that he can go and speak on a mic and basically present your entire product within 2 minutes max. Because in any hackathon, all of these participants or anyone who is submitting this project, they don't like let's say if I'm a judge, right? How I'm going to judge the entire project of yours? It's very tedious process to do that. Is because you cannot judge a project basically is like going into the code and seeing like you have a code, good, very written, high quality code quality or whatever you followed or not. No, generally that is not how judging happens. That happens in the case of, let's say, if that is more code oriented, but in hackathon, you have to just build a use case. And then when you build a use case, you just do a marathon. You don't do a marathon like where you are just running for hundreds of kilometers like that. You have to do a sprint, and a sprint doesn't like care about your code quality. It has to just work. The moment I say perform this job, that job should get performed. That is it. That should be your motive to build that. Don't worry about code and everything, because that can be optimized as you move forward. Okay, so keep that in your mind while you are submitting. Even in Dappathon as well, if you are submitting anything, please make sure you guys are submitting with at utmost quality possible. And when I say utmost quality possible, it basically means like you have to make sure your each and every documentation line. So let's say I have seen people is like they submit the code, then what they write is like this is how you can do it. Okay, nobody's going to do it. Like if I'm a judge, I'm not going to do it. I'll never do it. I'll just go and see if you have recorded a video, some kind of video, promo video, and to validate if there is some glitch, or if we find like there is a problem in recording, or you have tried to convince us by recording, then we might go and test the product. That is the second stage. But the first stage is like the documentation. If the documentation is very good, most likely your 50% mark is done, right? Then the second is like your YouTube video or whatever video you are trying to create. Second thing. Third and the most important thing is your working demo or a link where you can go and do that. So if you guys have, just to add on top of that, so there are a lot of components in Spheron as well today. You can always go ahead into the Spheron and create different working demo for yourself, like a working environment. So let's say I want this hackathon, I want this environment and everything, you can go ahead and do that. So that is what also Spheron has. So please feel free to go and test it out, that feature as well. And we'd love to have your feedback there as well. Okay. Just promoting Spheron. Overall, this is what are the three major part of your entire journey. Now, the fourth major part, let's say once you even if you win a bounty or something, right? If you're submitting any project in Dappathon, like for example, you wanted to build a photo sharing app, for example, I'm just giving an idea, right? So that for like us, like you, like anyone, there are tons of people who are going to build that photo sharing app. Now there is one more component which is going to keep you apart, like out of the box, out of everything from anyone who is submitting. And that is to interact with the team with whom you are working with. And I have seen that a couple of people do it very well. I have seen in my Discord people coming in and say, hey, you know what? This is what we were building. What do you think? How exactly it looks like? It might sound like they're trying to play around with the mind of us, but in reality, they are not. What they are trying to do, they are fighting to become a winner into the race. And anything to, like, I believe how most of us have already read, like we come from different backgrounds, but there is a saying in like everything is possible, or anything can be like possible in war and love. So it is both. So hackathon is like that. You have to like get prepared with all the ammo you have, and make sure like you try each and every effort to connect with the team who has submitted those bounties, to connect with the people who you are talking with, to make sure like they are understanding what they are building. If you have any questions, feel free to ask these questions as well during the entire hackathon and Dappathon period. And that is the fifth part of it, is like, don't shy away of asking any questions during the entire session. Okay. Never ever think how people are going to react. Think one thing in your head is, this problem might be causing to a lot of other people as well. So if you paste that problem, tens of different people problem will also get solved with that. And that is what we always afraid to go and do that. And we have at Spheron, me and my co-founder have learned it at a very early stage of that. It's like we were afraid of asking the questions, but then we started asking the questions like why this, why that, why this, and that is how we started learning and started building the connections as well. And most of the foundations, when I say foundations, the people who basically run any of these communities, companies, or startups, they basically derive them as foundations. All of these foundations love people who have a skill set of asking right questions at the right places, so that other people problem can also be solved with those questions. Okay, so please feel free to make sure you are asking those questions. Now there are few like miscellaneous things which I'll also drop along with this. If you have not, let's say Dappathon is happening, there is always, most of the time, if any hackathon or Dappathon is happening, you are going to be finding a dedicated Discord channel for any of these things. Prakash is also going to drop us here those Discord channel for Spheron, where you can go and hit an emoji there, which basically opens you a private channel for the Dappathon participants. So you can go ahead and log into that Discord and select that emoji so that that Dappathon part is open. Now, once that is open for you, you can go and ask tons of questions there. Like nobody is even going to even like think anything out of their mind. Is like, if you're asking questions, it's general. That question might be coming into your head. So you should feel free to go ahead and ask those questions there. That is most important thing which you are going to do. So if you have not yet joined our Discord, I would highly recommend to go ahead and join Discord. And if you don't have a Discord, then there is a problem, because the Dappathon is going to be around circulating around Discord. We want to like make sure we have a very, and most of the teams also are going to be like that. If you are, let's say, joining some hackathon, they might be having a Slack. So please have multiple communication channel open for yourself. I have seen developers missing out multiple hackathons because they can't manage multiple servers at multiple locations. So try to open multiple places. Let's say you can have a one Slack, one Discord, one Reddit. For example, we have around 2 channels, which is going to be very active channels. One which we maintain on Discord. Second, we maintain on WhatsApp, which Prakash kind of owns. It's a community driven channel where we just announce certain news. So feel free to go ahead and join that if you have a WhatsApp as well. So that is where we kind of how we manage it. And like us, there are multiple people who might be also managing it. When we started building Spheron, there were a lot of flatmates of ours. There were a lot of people who I've been working with, because I was working in a company as well, right? What happened with that point of time, there were people who joined us, like they were my flatmates, some of the friends who joined us. And then what happened in the mid, they left. That point of time, we never realized is like, it was not us who were in the fault. It was them who left us in the fault. The reason being because they did not realize the full potential of the product which we were building. Okay. Now they're just working for a company somewhere, but we are building millions of dollars of a company now. We have built a millions of worth of a dollar of a company at this point of time. Okay. So that is where the difference comes into the picture. You have to understand what you are building. Tons of people are not going to even understand it. There's one more story. I just wanted to put it forward. At my place, in my native, when I started working in crypto itself, people started thinking like, these guys are scamming people. Okay. Or these guys are doing something scammy, or they did not even look at the way it has to be looked at. Okay. I was at one of the family relatives' place, and they kind of just pointed out like, this is a scam, pure scam. You are going to realize it soon or later or whatever. Okay. Just imagine at that point of time, what would be your reaction? It's like, just who gives a fuck about the people like who don't even understand how the tech work, right? So you don't have to give a fuck about the people who don't understand who don't even understand the tech. That is the reason that the first thing which I have told is understand what the problem statement you will be working on. Okay, because you will be the guy who has to understand it first. And then who gives a fuck about the world, man? Like, everyone will be like thinking something else today or tomorrow. Everyone was saying US is recession proof. If I have to talk about very economically, everyone was saying US was recession proof. Like, nobody can like go to like, US will never go into 2008 recession or whatever. We just saw one of the biggest banks getting collapsed there. Swiss bank got collapsed, right? Your silver bank got collapsed. All of these banks who have lost more than for like 100+ billions of dollars. It's the world, man. Like, people will come and tell some bullshit and they will go. It's your job to like stand on your position and keep building. That is what the fucking attitude of a developer. When we started, we were very flexible enough. If somebody, even me and Mitras leaves, we alone individually can drive the entire project. Okay. If I have to learn and spend my 16 hours or 18 hours of learning, I'll be ready to do that. So that is where your entrepreneurship, your foundership, your hackathon, your hacker mindset, your persistent mindset kinds of kicks into the picture. So keep that into your head. I even realized like why we all make it very, very alien kind of a place in Web3. It's nothing different. If you know JavaScript, Web3.js is written into JavaScript. Ether.js is written in JavaScript. You just have to pass some value to that Ether.js and learn how to just call those remote procedure calls. It's very straightforward. The one thing which you have to do is just find open source materials to learn. There are some times when you will get very much confused, is like the concepts at which blockchain works. Okay. The concept of working in Web2 is more of an API driven, but the concept in working in Web3 is more of a RPC and all of these driven, where you have to make an RPC call and to do a lot of tons of things. So that is the reason I told, try to learn certain basics. So when I say learning, you can go to, let's say, just type on Google, Ethereum white paper, how Ethereum works, what is the basics of a blockchain, and all of those things. Okay. Just try to learn all of these basics. And the moment you have understanding of these basics, Language is nothing. It's like you don't even have to learn it. If you're already doing it, you don't even have to learn those languages. Understand the basics. Sometimes what happens, like you get confused with the concepts. It's like, why even have to call this again and again? Why even have to even bring this data? Why the verification even is needed? Why do we even need a digital money today? If I ask you these questions, I can bet multiple people of like most of you will not be able to answer these questions. It's like, why do we even need a digital money? Why do we even need a blockchain? Why do we even need a cryptography to be in the market? Right? All of these are very basic questions. But the moment you will understand these basic questions, you will understand the tech behind that question and how that tech is solving these problem statements. Okay, and then language, learn very basic JavaScript, which you should be knowing, or TypeScript or JavaScript. If you want to get into the backend of the solution, you can go and learn Solidity, Rust, depending on like which kind of a chain. And because that is the reason I'm not speaking about all of these things, because the moment I'll start speaking about the development space, it will become more very diversified into different segment of the blockchain. So you have to first learn the very basics, like what is EVM chain, what is not EVM, non-EVM chains. And these are the very generic thing which you can write it on Google as well. So today, if you go and write, I want, or there are a few places like, I still remember there's a guy called scaffold.eth. Okay, just search scaffold, SCAFFOLD, scaffold. You.eth, you will be able to find a document, very good documentation written. There is a documentation on Open Zeppelin. Open Zeppelin is open source program around Solidity. Go and find out that and try to read Solidity from there. Then try to go and attend such kind of hackathon and Dappathon and try to build certain use cases around and try to read their documentation. So for example, Spheron has a storage thing. Go and read about that storage documentation, how exactly it is. Go to the docs.spheron.network. Go to docs.ethereum.org. Go to understand about. So these are the couple of concepts which you have to learn, and then you'll be like very good to go if you already know the basics of development. So there is a webinar which is coming up, and that is the reason you guys have to go and sign up there so that we can send you that webinar. Like it is most likely going to be the first or second week of the April, in which we'll be walking you through the entire basics of like how to use storage SDK, how to use CLI, how to basically deploy your first web application, showing you the difference between the Web3 and the Web2 way of deployment and how exactly they both are differentiate them among themselves. We'll try to get much more deeper into the tech side. This call, we just wanted to like give you the understanding, the push towards you to go and, hey, you know what, let's go and fucking win this Dappathon. So that is what the intent of this call was, to like keep you guys mentally prepared, and rest, a lot of things are already on the way. We have very, very good panels who are already streamlined, who will be joining us. So if any one of your team has not yet registered, please go ahead and do that on the Dappathon, because we'll be sending them only the invites.
I signed up yesterday itself, right? So like, I wasn't really sure about the theme of the project. Could you like specify that a bit more? Because it was mentioned that the theme will be, elaborated on later on. So I wanted to just,
So the theme is already mentioned. So if you open that Dappathon project,
it's like photo sharing and all, but like what? Is it just that, or is there something more to it?
No, so we will be adding more because we are currently partnering with few chains. So we'll be once those chains will be get onboarded, we'll have, let's say, you can build a DeFi app, or you can build. So our theme is going to be around 3 major segments. The one is the consumer focus, which is going to be like the reason that photo sharing app and everything is mentioned is because it is more about consumer focused. The second is going to be a B2B focused, like the NFT and all of those things, right? Which you can see there. That is mostly around how exactly the B2B kind of part is going to play. So these are the two major play on the business side, which we are looking around. Now coming to specifically about like Web3 native use cases. So Web3 native use cases can be around anything. So you can build a liquid derivative exchange for yourself around NFTs. You can build a real estate assets map NFTs. You can build soul-bound or some kind of NFTs or assets around it. You can build a reputation channel. It's very open. So whatever your idea, like whatever you think of, can build upon either integrating some part of Spheron, which has very, very, very vast use cases. Like we have a compute, we have a storage, we have everything, whatever you need to build, right? So you just need a chain, and then just go on that chain and build whatever you want to. So that is what we just don't want to restrict anything just to pointing to any one theme as such. And there are few very good ideas there. So there is a Google or Typeform replacement using Spheron. Just imagine you build a Google and Typeform is utilizing the NFTs and mapping it back, and you can basically play a very good product thing around that. And believe me, it is people will love to pay for it as well. So if anyone is building that, we would love to invest also. So that is what I would also say is like, if anyone is building it or they have already built it, we'd love to come along and like invest into. So that is one of the very interesting part which I just want to see to get built. And since ZK is also here, so you can use ZK to like do the anonymous kind of like taking the surveys. Is it possible to make and complete the hackathon? I just started Web3 a few days back and I don't even have a team. I don't think you need like that is what I was saying, Apurva, is like you have to do two things. Either if you think a team is needed, then you should definitely go ahead and use the channel which we already have. There are a lot of people who are already looking for a team. Okay. And if you have not joined our Discord, go join our Discord, comment there like you are looking for a team member. Like if you see in this channel itself, like Devansh was working, and then there are a few people who are already like left him, or they might be in the process of leaving him. So he might be started looking out for a team, right? So you can definitely go and join their team. So feel free to comment that. That is one thing. Second thing is like, even though in the worst case scenario, you are not able to find a team member, try to go alone. Like I don't think like any of these use cases which is mentioned here is like requires a big team. Yes, it is going to require a team to like make sure you're not overloaded with the work, but I think you can build it alone also.
And you can use the team building channel. It works. Like go ahead, you use the team building channel. You have the option on Devpost as well, but you can try to use Discord and tell what you're building. Like use the general channel for that.
We have everything, whatever you need to succeed. The only thing which you have to do is to go and build. Just come up with the idea and start building. And even though if you want a vetting around the idea, you can post that as well in the channel. Which field do you expect from to make the app in, and which tech stack would be preferred? Which field? Field can be anything, right? So from your photo sharing to NFT to it does. See, the reason Spheron has been built so that there should not be any differentiation between Web2 and Web3. Okay, we wanted to make sure like we combine both the tech stack, but we leverage Web3 internally without exposing it. If you go to Spheron today, you can use web application, you can host your application, you can create your portfolios, you can do a lot of tons of things without even interacting or like understanding Web3 components. You want to build certain kind of a bot, for example, a bot which scrapes the Discord data and put it somewhere else. We have a marketplace of that compute. So you can raise a PR for that marketplace, and you might also get more money than what you might be making into like in the Dappathon as well, while doing all of those things as well. So a lot of things which are already there, I think, which you can build. It is very open to go and do that. Sir, if you have additional ideas or build with us, we can present that also with our main idea. But you can always. It is not only one time we are doing Dappathon, for your knowledge. We are going to be doing Dappathon into multiple cities and multiple places, and most likely in different countries as well. So if you are very active in Dappathon process, whatever we are going to be doing, most likely you will also get a chance to visit different countries as well. And if you have not yet seen, we have also launched one more campaign on Twitter where you can go to Tokyo on the expense of ours. One selected teammates can go to Tokyo. Yeah. So if you are not there, please go ahead and comment that. Most likely you can also land in Tokyo as well, without even paying a penny there. So if you have an idea with certain kind of MVP, go ahead and apply into Dappathon. We'll be more than happy to support you into your journey from day 0 to day 1, and then day 2 you have to take care. Where can you find a team building channel? I have Discord, but I cannot find that. You have to basically go and touch an emoji there. So there must be an emoji of a Dappathon. So you just click that emoji, and the private channel of Dappathon will open. Once it opens, you just go and like ask, like I'm looking for a teammate, or I'm looking for building this idea. Anyone wants to join? They will be like asking or commenting there.
Thank you so much, Prashant. This was actually very amazing. Like this seemed to be like a very heart-to-heart conversation with every builder out there. And guys, see, I would have put a link where it would automatically take you to a tweet but I would not do that. I would highly recommend that you are our own advocates and you help us make Dappathon even bigger. And we are launching Dappathon program for this, and we would be soon like launching out the whole program. If I can show you a small glimpse of what Dappathon really means, is that people who are willing to advocate Dappathon in their specific colleges or in their, and this is something what we have created. Like kudos to Amit. This is a simple Dappathon program, and which would help us like basically help us like make Dappathon more bigger, and we would be sending out a mail for Dappathon as well. But it's up to us making Dappathon even bigger and bringing more participants in, so that we have a versatile participants joining in for Dappathon. So thank you so much, Prashant. You've been amazing, and it was very heart-to-heart conversation with the developers. And people, if you are watching the recording and it's on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, I'm not gonna say it. And show us a love in Dappathon, and join us in the next session, which is gonna be soon out on Luma. And best of luck, guys.